spend a few minutes talking. It's been said that if you can't change the madness, change the moment. As Unitarian Universalists are called in December to open to joy, let's consider how to clear away spiritual negativity first. get there a little sooner. So Rob and I will share these opening words by our colleague, Linda Hottie. Enter with me that still place within the center, where we find not only our inmost selves, but also our connection to the farthest reaches of the universe.
Here we confront our aspirations and our failings.
Though we seek always for our lives to be full of goodness, we sometimes lack courage to right the injustices that confront us.
Though we seek always to be generous, sometimes our fears cause us to be greedy.
Though we seek always to walk the high moral ground, sometimes we judge others too quickly and too harshly.
Though we seek always to understand and the larger mysteries, sometimes doubt causes us to lose faith in our purpose.
Here, in this space, made sacred by our shared lives and our shared yearnings, may we find new courage, new generosity of spirit, forgiveness given and received, and rededications to the higher purposes of our lives. Come, let's worship together. I now invite, is it Eleanor whoever is our chalice lighter, to come forward? I think it's Eleanor. Yes, it is. And light our chalice for us. What's that? You forgot. That's okay. You need help? Okay. Oh, you have a helper. Help happens to have just come up forward here. So, hold on 1 second. You can watch how this is done. So we take this big guy here. We haven't been back in church long enough for any of us to remember how to do this. And then we light from there, and we light the chalice, and then we say the words. So you light the chalice first, and then you go to the microphone. I'm giving a tutorial right here on lighting the chalice. That's a good thing. You got it. That's right. That thing down. This is our chalice lighter here, right here. And then you guys go to the microphone and you say the unbolted part.
Let this flame be to us.
Let's see. It's on now. Up close.
Let this flame be to us a symbol of the wholeness we seek.
Its brightness dispelling gloom, lighting a path to faith and hope.
Its glow reminding us of the sacred bonds that link us to the living things.
Its radiance calling us to cast the light of freedom, justice, and peace upon all the world. Thank you. Good job. So, good morning. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, for this hour, you're part of this congregation and you are welcome. We have folks in-house, we have folks remotely joining us today. How many Zoom boxes there do we have, Dustin, this morning? 29, and often there are more than one person in the box. It's so funny to say, but we probably have several dozen watching us on Zoom today. What an exciting morning. Oh, we have so many things to talk about and share, but the first thing I want to do is introduce your sabbatical minister. Reverend Rob is here, so let's give Reverend Rob a nice warm welcome. So happy you're going to be with this congregation for 3.5 months while the minister is on sabbatical. So very exciting about this. Let us do something that we tend to do every Sunday, at least when we're here together gathered. We pass the peace. It's an ancient practice, but we do it in a real fun way. I invite you, as the Spirit moves you, keep your mask on, don't touch one another, but why don't you find someone that you want to greet that you're so happy to see and that you recognize behind the mask. So let's take a few moments to say hello to one another. And Dustin, if you will unmute the folks on Zoom, they can say hello as well. And you can actually put your mask on.
Morning.
Morning. Hey, everybody.
Marianne, do you have sound yet? Oh,
Hi
good.
there. Good to see everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
There you go. I know, it's good to see you all. Good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right. All righty, if you can make your way back. Hello, really wonderful. So we do have some announcements here this morning. I invite Carrie to come forward, and Carrie, you can use this microphone on the stand right here. It's live, and you have an announcement.
Good morning. I just want to thank all of you that have already chosen a card, tag, to buy a gift for one of the children in the Box Project. We have several of them left on the bulletin board in the hall. You choose a tag, you buy the gift, you wrap it, and put the tag on it, and bring it back next Saturday or Sunday, or during the weekday, or next Sunday. Thank you all.
So this is a tradition we've been doing for a long time, and actually, Carrie was outside the office door yesterday during the church fair, and a lot of people took tags, but there are some left. And as you remember, the minister always promises to pick up the tags that are left, and I am the world's worst shopper, so please help me out by taking a tag on the way into coffee hour. By the way, I want to say that we are no longer having coffee hour outdoors. It's gotten a little cold for that. We are having social hour in the hall. What that means is no coffee. You need to keep your masks on, no eating or drinking, and the windows will be open, so there'll be ventilation. But, you know, this pandemic practice is a week-to-week thing. So from now on, at least for the time being, we're going to have social hour in the hall. So Jim Hamilton, you have an announcement as well.
So first off, I'd just like to thank all of the chairs, the volunteers, the donors, the bakers, the greens makers, everyone who made yesterday's fair such a big success. Can I get a round of applause for folks? Honestly amazing, because we have this pandemic working group that gets together, and if you asked us 2 months ago, we weren't sure we were even going to have a fair. And then we found out that the Greens people were so interested in doing this that they started driving things forward. And then the Mrs. Kringle's folks wanted to do stuff, and we knew we were going to have enough people to get something together. And so that, I mean, to me, that was really just amazing. So many people came up to me at the fair, people who are fair goers, and said, "It's great you're having it this year. We're so happy to be here. We missed it last year." And a lot of the fair workers said the same kind of thing. So delighted. My favorite moment at the fair, actually, Santa Claus was there. I think actually Santa Claus talked to some of the kids who were in the room here. Unbelievable. Favorite moment there. I will say that I know everybody's waiting for me to tell you a number.
What's a number?
I'll get there. So let me just say, I had a number in my head that I hoped we would achieve, because this is a different year. You know, this is not like we've done necessarily in the past. So that number in my head, we beat that number. I had a number where I thought, if we get to this number, I'm gonna be happy. We beat that number. Now, let me just say that the fair is not quite over yet, because when you go out to the social hour, you will see a table of greens that are still up for sale. Sharon has offered some bargain prices there, and there's some great stuff out there. So I hope you'll be able to maybe even achieve the number that would make me really, 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 really happy. So Let me just say that the actual number was $6,350.
Which is absolutely amazing in a pandemic year, absolutely amazing.
And I do also want to underscore what Carrie said, because during the fair, people were coming up to the board, and I think you said maybe a third of the tags had gone at the fair, so there's still plenty left. But while you're going out to buy your greens, stop by the board and make sure you pick up one of those tags as well. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Great job. And I want to say too, great job with the greens. I was looking at the numbers this morning, and the number for the greens table is almost what we have in a regular fair season. So thank you, green people. You're not green, but you are the greens people. Yep.
Individual breakdowns, don't see me or Nancy or somebody.
Yeah, the chairs, so they get competitive. Okay, sorry, I'm lifting up the greens, but I just noted that today, that the number was very close to what you normally do. So, Reverend Rob doesn't do time for all ages. He does magic for all ages, and we're really excited about that, and we're going to do that in a minute after we decorate our mitten tree. But I've been thinking about another kind of magic that's happened here at First Parish Church. I was going to tell it as a story, but the reality is this. As most of you know, I was planning to move out of the parsonage and into a home I had renovated. And in August, your governing board, right around the time that the Taliban took over Afghanistan, your governing board at our retreat decided that we would offer the church parsonage to an Afghan refugee family for a period about 18 months or so. And then you all, do you remember when we had that Zoom congregational vote, Jim? Was that like late September? Okay, late September, get the timing on this. Late September, early October, you all voted unanimously to approve that recommendation by the governing board. So we had housing for an Afghan refugee family, and then the next step was to involve the community. We knew it couldn't just be a First Parish thing. And in the short space of time, we put up a Sign Up Genius and a GoFundMe and organized. I think we started out, I remember our first meeting was 10 people and 6 of them were First Parish people. And I said to Cindy Fiorini, this isn't good. We have to expand this to the town. And now we have about 50 people on our team. And Cindy, do you want to come up and say a few words about what's happening tomorrow? It's a little unexpected. I can tell you the minister only really moved out Friday fully, and she's actually got a few things still left over there, but this is what is happening tomorrow.
Yeah, so what's happening tomorrow, around 9 o'clock tomorrow night, is we're going to be picking up our Afghan family. There's parents and 5 children, and they're coming tomorrow night. And we just found this out last Tuesday.
Like 48 hours ago or something. It was very recent. We were a little stunned.
Wednesday morning, and we were not planning on Monday. We were not ready, but we are almost now, and we will be by tomorrow night. And so we have a wonderful family coming with children who are 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8.
Isn't that something? Yep. So we are so excited. So after church today, a group of folks will be getting everything organized, all the stuff that was donated, getting it in place in the parsonage. And several members of our Duxbury High School football team will be meeting us in the back here, and they're going to go pick up furniture that was donated. And they're doing that in spite of the fact that they lost the Super Bowl by 1 point on Friday night. But it's just been such a town-wide effort, and I am just so moved. I was thinking this morning, somewhere on the military base in Michigan, I believe, is it Michigan or Minnesota? Minnesota, I knew it was an M word. There's this family of 5, 2 parents in their 30s and these 5 young children, and they're getting ready to get on a plane first thing tomorrow morning and come to Logan Airport and live in the town of Duxbury. So the generosity of this congregation started it all, and I am just so grateful and so proud to serve a congregation that 100% supported this effort. We'll be maintaining the privacy of the family for a while. They've got, to get acclimated, but at some point, I'm sure you'll all get to meet them, and it's just an amazing, amazing effort.
I just want to make sure to thank all the people here that have been over helping to put the parsonage in really good working order. There's been a whole bunch of you, and I really, I just don't want to start naming people because I'll forget, but thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it absolutely takes a village here, and we are the primary, movers of the village. It's so inspiring to me. I've been weeping all morning about it. So anyway, our generosity is evident in other ways. Here at First Parish, we have a tradition of decorating our mitten tree. So if you have brought with you hats or mittens this morning, as the Spirit moves you, you're invited to queue down that aisle there, come across, put your mittens and such on the tree, and then go down the side aisle back to your seat. You can tell I'm thinking about the house. So Ed, could we have a mitten tree decorating music, please? Absolutely beautiful. Here's our mitten tree. Kate, can you take a photograph of that? Okay, super. So that looks really, really beautiful, and we thank you for your generosity. And Bob, are you the one taking these? Yep, Bob Hughes will take these to the Plymouth Coalition for the Homeless, and there'll be warm hands and heads this winter because of you folks. Now I invite Reverend Rob to offer us his Magic for All Ages. The title is The Magic Rope.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Rob. I'll be your magician this morning. I started doing magic in church about 20 years ago, first as a young dad and now as an old preacher. And in all that time, I've actually gotten to preach in a lot of different Unitarian Universalist churches, and they're all beautiful in their own way. But this, as I was saying to Jim earlier, is magnificent. What a beautiful space, and I am so excited to think that I will be back here with you in January on a regular basis, at least for a time, while Catherine takes a well-deserved break. So, this magic thing, this is a trick I've done in a lot of different churches because it talks about our first principle. And as I begin, I want, if it's possible, for a few people to inspect the rope I have to make sure it's not trick rope and it's okay. Is that all right if I do that?
Sure.
Stand up.
Not that we don't trust you, Rob.
So just tug on them, make sure it's as they appear to be, just rope. It's not magic shop rope, no threads, no mirrors, no trapdoors. Is that true? Because you are the eyes and ears of the folks playing at home. So, just so you know, okay? All right, verified by 3 trustworthy members of the audience. As you can see, I have 3 pieces of rope and they're all the same. I sense some skeptics. Oh, they're different lengths. That's true. But I said something different, didn't I? I said they're all the same. Kind of the way you and I and everybody are the same in some ways, deep down inside. And I'll prove it to you. Who here likes to laugh? Who here likes ice cream? I see some people are raising 2 hands. Who here likes to get presents? See, all the grown-ups are raising their hands too, kids. So we're all the same in some ways, and our first principle says that everyone deserves to be respected for an inherent worth and dignity. Even though we all come in different lengths, different shapes, different sizes, different colors, everyone should be treated fairly and respectfully. But you and I know that's not always the case. Sometimes people aren't treated fairly. Sometimes they're not treated with the respect everyone deserves. And that's why we practice our first principle. It's hard sometimes, it's not easy. And that's why we Unitarian Universalists need to stand up and step out for social justice. You might even say that we have to stretch ourselves and keep doing the good work of social justice until one day everyone is seen and treated respectfully and equally. Everyone safe, everyone whole, everyone free, everyone seen and treated as equal under the watchful eyes of love. And that is real magic. Thank you.
I wish I had written it into his contract that he had to teach me all these tricks. Unbelievable. Thanks, Rob. So now Kate, what are we doing with our kids? It was fun. I wasn't here the week that we did some special way of getting them out of the sanctuary. Clap. All right. We'll see you later. And there they go. Okay, young people. Well, now, my friends, this morning's offering will now be given and received to continue the work of this beloved community of faith. So let's see. Woo! We need 2 people to take those baskets from the back. So, Eleanor, you need a helper, correct? And Lois is volunteering. And now, my friends, we've come to the time in our worship together for the sharing of joys and concerns. As the Spirit moves you, you're invited to queue up on that aisle over there and light a candle. And you can actually light it in silence, or you can share your joy and concern, and I'll be moving that microphone a little closer. Can I have a volunteer to run into the kitchen and get Rob a glass of water? I'm looking at Sam Clifford. Thank you, Sam. You're just my best helper. Thanks very much. So again, it's time for sharing of candles of joy and concern. I'm going to start, though, with the folks who are on remote. So I'm going to come down there and light candles for them. So hello, all of you. Is there anyone here on Zoom who would like me to light a candle of joy or sorrow for you? You can put your hand in front of your face so I know that you would like me to do that for you, and then unmute yourself and I'm happy to light a candle for you. Anybody here who would like a candle of joy or concern? Susan Taylor, so unmute yourself. And
I drove by the church and I mean by the parsonage and went in, and I can't believe the transformation.
it's absolutely beautiful. So a joy for, like Cindy said, all the folks who helped get the parsonage in order. And the furnishings are so beautiful and so appropriate. They really are lovely. Thank you, Susan. Anybody else? Just put your hand in front of your face if you have a joy or sorrow. Carol Robison?
I would just like to light a candle for all who have been brushed with this COVID pandemic. Our daughter Lindsay is recovering from a breakthrough infection, and Rob and I are both self-isolating. Rob's alone at home in Kingston, and I am here in Columbus, Ohio with Lindsay. And so far, Rob and I are both okay, but it's been sobering. And for all of you who are boosted and otherwise protected, just remember that you can have asymptomatic cases and be spreading the virus unwittingly. That's what we found out. So blessings to all.
Yeah, a candle for those who are suffering with COVID. And these breakthrough cases are really, they're disappointing. We thought that we could be fully vaccinated and boosted and we wouldn't have to deal with this, but thank you, Sam. But we do. That's the reality. So here's a candle for those who are suffering with COVID. Anybody else here on Selden?
I wanted to say that through these Dari efforts, one of the many joys has been getting to know Cindy Ladd Fiorini and Hannah Bolton better. That's the way these things work. I'm sure everyone at the church has realized when you're on committees with other people. In particular, I really don't know how Cindy does it. I mean, she's a select person and just has very much been a go-to person, but everybody involved, lots of younger people have stepped up. Carl Coons of the Rotary Club has just been unbelievable. And it's just been a joy to get to know some of those people better and to spend a little bit more time working with you, Catherine, and just really thankful for all of that. Thank you.
We'll light a candle for all the folks who worked on Dari. And this woman here set up our Sign Up Genius and our GoFundMe, and you did it like in 24 hours. So this candle's for you too, Selden.
Well, thank you. Blessings to everyone.
All righty. Anybody else here on the remote? Do I have everyone on the screen? Dustin, I do. Okay. Anyone else who has a candle? All righty. Then I will invite the folks here in the church to come forward, and as the Spirit moves you, light a candle of joy or sorrow.
This is a very serious candle of joy for Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. It was a real nice, loving success story that Santa said, "Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide our sleigh tonight?" It was such a happy ending. It's one of my favorite Christmas songs.
A candle for Rudolph.
A candle for Rudolph.
Thank you.
I was working at the greens table yesterday, and I opened up the receipt book for the first sale, and the person's name on top was Mark Dunay. And I just got really weepy. I just thought, God, why isn't he here, you know? And then I thought about Jim Savicki, and why isn't he here? And I'm just sort of mourning some really important people in church that aren't here with us at this time.
Just a candle of joy and gratitude to all the people who helped out our family recently after my wife went through some surgery, and turning this into an announcement, a plug for the Caring Connection. It just really does wonderful, wonderful work for the church, and hopefully if you get a call or an email sometime that somebody needs something, you might respond. It really helps. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is a candle of joy for our new neighbors coming in the next few days, and this is for friendship, peace, love, and I just want for them to know that welcome to the country of land of opportunity. I say that because for 36 years I've owned my own business. If I can do that, the world is open, and I really cherish the fact that we've got new neighbors. So, welcome.
And this final candle burns for joys and sorrows deeply felt, but not yet spoken. And now Carol Robison from our remote land will offer us our reading today. So we'll spotlight Carol.
This is a lovely poem by Anne Sexton. Welcome, morning. There is joy in all. In the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel newly washed that I rub my body with each morning, in the chapel of eggs I cook each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the spoon and the chair that cry, "Hello there, Anne," each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate top upon each morning. All this is God, right here in my pea green house each morning. And I mean, though often forget, to give thanks, to faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young.
Well, good morning again. A little over a week ago, the day after Thanksgiving, to be exact, a Columbia University researcher named Bob Coyne got on the internet, not to hunt down Black Friday deals, but to solve a mystery. Professor Coyne, who uses computer science to solve language puzzles, was posting his latest findings to answer a question that has plagued magicians and literary scholars for more than a century. Who wrote what is considered the Holy Bible of card magic? A book published in 1902 with the lengthy title, Artifice, Ruse, and Subterfuge at the Card Table, a treatise on the science and art of manipulation of cards. The author of this book, which taught sleight of hand but mainly exposed the methods of gamblers, used a pseudonym, S.W. Erdnase, likely due to the sensitivity of the topic and the roughness of the crowd he was exposing. The book has simply become known to magicians and scholars as Erdnase. Now, whoever Erdnase really was, he pulled off probably the greatest magic trick of all time. He disappeared without a trace, and to this day, despite dozens of books and hundreds of articles seeking his identity, including on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, the true identity of S.W. Erdnase remains shrouded in mystery. One theory has it that S.W. Erdnase is simply E.S. Andrews spelled backward. But this is widely disputed, and to this day, no one, including magicians, knows for sure who wrote what is considered the most important book, a classic on card gambling and sleight of hand ever written. I mentioned Professor Coyne not to plunge you into a literary detective mystery, but trust me, it is a textbook case of a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. It is because of a single line in the book, a line Coyne quotes in the opening paragraph of his online thesis, perhaps the most famous and most quoted line in Erdnase, and it is this: "The resourceful professional, failing to improve the method, changes the moment." Now, not to tell tales out of school, especially when the school is Hogwarts, but this single thought is at the very heart of getting away with some very tricky stuff, especially when it's late at night, everyone's tired, and there are $500 in the kitty. Erdnase was referring to how the most polished professional gamblers pull off a move when they're being watched, how they slip 3 aces to their secret accomplice in a high-stakes game of poker while everyone is staring at their hands, or how to ring in a cooler, a deck of cards prearranged, stacked in a certain order that is secretly switched in for the deck being used, a deck that is cold to the touch because it hasn't been handled. And what Erdnase was saying was, if everyone is staring at you, cause a distraction, act casual, glance away from your guilty hands, wait a few beats, and above all, relax. Sure as shooting. Everyone at the table will relax too, and when they do, that's when you make your move. When you can't improve the method, change the moment. It's good advice. I mean, right about now, some of you may be wondering whether you are in a church in Duxbury or a casino in Las Vegas. What does a book written in 1902 about gambling subterfuge have to do with opening our hearts to joy here in 2021, the theme you were promised today? Has the minister been spending a little too much time at the Encore Casino in Everett, which happens to be less than 10 minutes from his house? After all, life is a bit more complicated now than it was back when Teddy Roosevelt was president. It certainly is. 1902 was in the middle of the first epidemic in the United States, the bubonic plague in San Francisco, an epidemic that put politicians at war with each other. Some things haven't changed. The pandemic we're in right now is, of course, many times that. In fact, doesn't it sometimes seem that today's crises are amplified versions of all the crises that have gone before? Our wars are longer, our politics more divided, gun violence more frequent, and all kinds of subterfuge, from tax evasion to international internet bots to systemic forms of oppression, are more devious and deeply wired. What is a faithful and conscientious Unitarian Universalist to do? Literally, how do we keep the faith? Our times, it seems, call for drastic measures. It is not about thinking outside the box, but rather deeper within. And it might just be worthwhile to reach deeper into our own bag of tricks, our coping mechanisms, our spiritual methods or practices, to give ourselves better odds at winning at this grand game of chance we've all been born into and wake up to every day. In a way, figuratively speaking, it's late at night and we're all tired. And while there may not be $500 in the kitty, still there is a lot at stake in the present day. So here's one bit of holy subterfuge that would make our forebears proud. Paraphrase Erdnase and say, the resourceful practitioner of Unitarian Universalism, failing to improve the madness, changes the moment. Now, when I say forebears, I am thinking not only of the original members of this historic church, but also in particular of the transcendentalists. Margaret Fuller, Henry David Thoreau, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Carolyn Sturgis, Elizabeth Peabody, Theodore Parker, and others were, in a sense, about changing the moment. Don't look in here, the Bible, for reassurance, they said. Raise your eyes up and look around you. As Margaret Fuller wrote, the blue sky seen above the opposite roof preaches better than any brother. Change your perspective, the transcendentalist said. God is everywhere. Goodness is everywhere. In fact, there's so much more goodness than badness, if you would only take a moment to ponder. The bad stuff, the violence, the dividedness, the subterfuge, commands our attention precisely because it is so foreign to our essence. When we are waylaid by news headlines first thing every morning, remember why that stuff is news. It's not the usual. It's not who we are. It's not what most of the world is. The real alternative facts against those newsprint facts are these. There is a lot more love in the world than hate. Most people have loving hearts. And love never has to innovate. Love just is. Hate and derision and oppression have to innovate because they keep failing at higher and higher levels. Our war machines and all manner of subterfuge keep growing more sophisticated because they can't hold an Advent candle to love. They can't beat it. As Emerson said in his famous Harvard Divinity School address, quote, all evil is so much death or non-entity. Benevolence is absolute and real. That's what we have going for us. It is because benevolence or goodness is so omnipresent that we tend to forget that it is always there, right beside us. It is when we remember that we change the moment. Because sometimes, especially if the stakes are high, as they so often are these days, it helps to think like a gambler. And when you can't change the moment or the madness, when you can't change the madness, change the moment. Relax, take a deep breath, think of the most beautiful, calming place you've ever been, and envision that. Listen more than speak. Gaze at a spot beyond the horizon and remind yourself that we are teeny tiny people on a teeny tiny planet in the ever-expanding universe. Quietly chant your personal mantra, and if you don't have a mantra, get one at your earliest convenience, even something as simple as be here now. You can carry your mantra wherever you go. It doesn't weigh anything, and if you're wearing a mask, no one will see you chanting. Very sneaky, very gamblerish of you. I chose this example today, an obscure line from an obscure book that nevertheless is like the real Bible in that we also don't know who really wrote most of the Old and New Testaments either. To help you know a little bit more about me and my ministry. Going almost all the way back to my beginnings as a conjurer, when I was 7 years old and first learned how to make a handkerchief disappear, badly, I've discovered a lot of parallels between being a good magician and being a good person. When I put together my first worship service as a lay leader back in 2003, it was about magic and how a love of mystery and wonder combined with great respect for the other. In the magician's case, an audience. In the non-magician's case, anyone in front of you. These things were running through all of Unitarian Universalism. The first source of our living tradition, you can read it right on the next page after the preface in the gray hymnal. is this direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. Our first principle calls us to respect the inherent worth and dignity in everyone. And our fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, exactly describes what motivates a magician to spend long hours learning their art in ways I can't describe, or else now I would be spilling secrets I took an oath not to tell. What I want you to know is that in the coming months, you won't be subjected to sermon after sermon about magic. It won't be abracadabra this and hocus pocus that. It will, but only in the sense that each and every one of you brings your own magic to this place and to this community. I believe everyone does something that is so them that only they know the secrets to how they do it. No, I just want you to know how I think and how I minister are heavily influenced by many years of changing the moment. In the case of ministry, to be a calm presence, to ask the provocative but necessary question, to listen a bit longer than you thought possible, to not be afraid to play the foil, my teller, to your pen, to be with you, because believe it or not, me just being who I am and you just being who you are can be enough to change a moment. It is together that we win the high-stakes game of chance we play every day. And as long as we know that and act upon it, the madness doesn't stand a chance and won't fool us for a minute. We are here after many months of pandemically induced trial and tribulation. We don't know how many more months we must endure. But months, like our lives, are made up of moments, and moments we can change. Joy to the world, yes, of course. But first, joy to the moment. It's not hocus pocus. It is simply the magic of love. There's no mystery here. We are the authors of our own experience, co-authors at the very least. Live your life as if you were writing a classic. May it be so, and blessed be.
So I must say, it's not easy for a minister to go on sabbatical in the middle of a pandemic. I really had to think deeply about taking this time away, but frankly, I'm exhausted because I haven't really had much time off since the pandemic began in March 2020. And I am so excited that we have found Rob, and he will be your sabbatical minister, and it just gives me great comfort to know that you'll be in his hands. So I think you're going to have a magical time while I'm away on sabbatical starting in January. So thank you again for accepting the call to be our sabbatical minister, Rob. And we are running a little late. It's been an incredibly full morning, so I think that Ed will call your postlude a recessional, so feel free to go into the social hour during the recessional. And my friends, until we meet again, may you be blessed. Now go be a blessing to the world.
He's shy, right? Well, he yeah, that's and he gets, yeah. He gets settled on it. Right, I think he does once he's, yeah, now he's one. Yeah, now this is right, the transitions. Yeah, yeah, they can be epic, right? Oh, yeah, it can be epic. I have, this is nephew of mine, they didn't quite understand, my niece was not saying it. And then I babysat for him, and he's like this sweet, fun boy, just been like once feeding him small burger, and it is, he just overtakes it. And so the last time, one of the last times I babysat, I paid him really good with my kids. So he was doing his thing, and I just started to model doing it. He just goes, I don't want your breathing. And so I said, well, this is for me because this makes me stress. So I did it, and then like I saw happy man.
I am obviously here alone, so I am going to leave. Bye.